Have you ever caught yourself thinking, well, at least my kids will take care of me when I really need it? Maybe you've said it out loud, or maybe it's just been a quiet comfort in the back of your mind. After all, you raised them, you sacrificed for them, you stayed up late worrying about them. It feels natural to assume that when the roles reverse, they'll be there for you in the same way. But here's the uncomfortable truth many seniors discover much later than they wish they had. Love does not always translate into care, and good intentions don't always turn into daily support. This is not about blaming your children. It's not about saying they don't care or that you did something wrong. It's about facing reality honestly while you still have the time, strength, and clarity to protect yourself. Too many older adults learn these lessons only after a health scare, a fall, or a sudden loss of independence. By then, choices feel limited and stress feels overwhelming. That's why this conversation matters so much. Today, we're talking about some painful truths seniors learn when they assume their kids will take care of them. These truths can sting at first, but they can also be incredibly freeing because once you see things clearly, you can plan wisely, set boundaries, and build a future that doesn't depend on anyone else's availability, finances, or emotional capacity. Let's ease into this gently, starting with something many people experience but rarely talk about openly. One of the first painful truths is that your children have their own lives, and those lives are usually fuller and more complicated than we imagine. When your kids were young, their world revolved around home. As adults, their world is pulled in a dozen directions at once. Jobs demand more time than ever. Commutes are longer. Stress is constant. Many are raising children of their own, caring for spouses, paying off debts, or worrying about their own health. Even the most loving son or daughter may already feel stretched thin before your needs ever enter the picture. You might think, but they'll make time if I really need them. Sometimes they do, at least at first. But care is not a one-time favor. It's not just a ride to the doctor or help after surgery. Real care often means daily check-ins, managing medications, helping with meals, handling paperwork, and being emotionally present when fear and frustration show up. Over time, that level of responsibility can become overwhelming, especially for someone already exhausted by their own life. Many seniors are shocked when they realize their children's limits are not about love, but about capacity. Another truth that's hard to accept is that proximity matters more than promises. Your child may say, "I'll always be there for you," and genuinely mean it. But what happens if they live in another city, another state, or even another country? Life has a way of scattering families. Jobs change, spouses have careers of their own, grandchildren settle into schools far away. When distance enters the picture, even simple help becomes complicated. A quick visit turns into a planned trip. An emergency becomes a scramble. Phone calls replace physical presence, and good intentions don't change geography. Many seniors slowly realize that being loved from afar is very different from being cared for up close. It's no one's fault, but it's a reality that can leave you feeling unexpectedly alone. This is why assuming things will work themselves out can be so risky. Distance has a quiet way of turning certainty into uncertainty. There's also a third truth that often catches people off guard. Caregiving changes relationships, and not always for the better. When a child becomes a caregiver, the balance shifts. The parent who once guided and protected now needs help, reminders, supervision. Even in the healthiest families, this can create tension, resentment, or guilt on both sides. Your child may feel trapped between obligation and exhaustion. You may feel embarrassed, frustrated, or afraid of being a burden. Many seniors don't expect how painful it feels to sense impatience in a child's voice, or to notice how visits become shorter, more rushed, more transactional. It doesn't mean your child is a bad person. It means caregiving is emotionally heavy, and most people are not prepared for it. This realization alone has caused countless older adults to quietly pull back, asking for less help than they truly need, just to preserve the relationship. As you sit with these truths, you might feel a mix of emotions: sadness, maybe, anger, even relief because something that felt confusing now makes more sense. And that's okay. This isn't about giving up on family, it's about understanding the limits of assumptions. When you stop assuming, you start planning, and planning is where real peace begins. As these realizations settle in, another truth often surfaces, and it can feel even heavier. Many seniors discover that when money enters the picture, everything changes. Even families that are close and loving can struggle when financial responsibility becomes part of caregiving. Your children may want to help, but they may not be able to afford it. Healthcare costs are high, housing is expensive, and many adults are still trying to secure their own retirement. When your needs require financial support, it can create quiet tension that no one wants to talk about. Some parents assume their children will naturally step in to cover costs if needed. Others feel uncomfortable even asking. What often happens instead is silence. Bills get postponed, necessary help gets delayed, and the senior, sensing the strain, chooses to go without rather than risk causing stress. This is one of the most painful lessons because it reveals how fragile financial assumptions can be. Love doesn't pay for long-term care, home modifications, or ongoing medical needs. Planning does. There's also a difficult emotional truth that many people only understand after experiencing it firsthand. Your children may not see your aging the way you do. You feel the small changes every day, the stiffness in the morning, the fatigue that lasts longer than it used to, the worry that comes with forgetting a name or misplacing something important. Your children, especially if they don't see you often, may underestimate what you're going through, not because they don't care, but because they don't live in your body. This gap in perception can lead to misunderstandings. You might hint that you need more help, and they brush it off with reassurance. You might finally speak up, only to hear, "You seem fine to me." Over time, this can make you doubt yourself or feel invisible. Many seniors learn that waiting for others to notice your needs often means waiting too long. Your experience is real, even if others don't fully see it. Another deeply unsettling truth is realizing how quickly circumstances can change in your children's lives. A job loss, a divorce, an illness, or a move can instantly reshape their ability to help you. What felt like a solid plan can disappear overnight. Seniors who rely heavily on one child often feel especially vulnerable when that child's situation shifts. Suddenly, the support you counted on is no longer available, and there's no backup plan in place. This is why flexibility matters so much in later years. Life rarely follows a straight line. When your well-being depends on someone else's stability, your sense of security becomes fragile. Many older adults describe this as living with a quiet anxiety, always wondering if today is the day things change. That constant uncertainty can be exhausting. There's also a social truth that doesn't get enough attention. Depending entirely on your children can slowly shrink your world. When they become your main source of help, transportation, and decision-making, your independence can fade faster than expected. You may stop going places because it feels like too much trouble to ask. You may stop making choices because someone else is always stepping in. Over time, your confidence can erode, and your life can become smaller without you even realizing it. This isn't about pride, it's about dignity. Most seniors don't want to be managed. They want to be supported while still feeling in control of their lives. When support comes only from family, especially busy adult children, that balance can be hard to maintain. Many people look back and wish they had built more systems around themselves instead of relying on one relationship. Another painful realization often follows. Conversations that should have happened earlier didn't. Expectations were never clearly discussed. Assumptions filled the gaps.
Parents assumed their children understood their wishes. Children assumed their parents had everything handled. When a crisis hits, everyone is suddenly trying to figure things out under stress. Emotions run high. Regrets surface. Seniors often say they wish they had spoken up sooner, not to demand care, but to plan realistically together. As all of this unfolds, a quiet but powerful shift can happen. You start to see that protecting your future isn't about pushing your children away. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being while you still can. It's about creating options, not obligations. This mindset doesn't weaken family bonds. In many cases, it strengthens them because it removes unspoken pressure and guilt. Understanding these truths can feel heavy, but they also open the door to something important: choice. When you stop assuming, you gain the freedom to design a life that feels safer, more stable, and more respectful of everyone involved. And as this awareness grows, it naturally leads to a deeper conversation about how to reclaim control, preserve independence, and move forward with confidence rather than fear.
By the time many seniors reach this point of awareness, there's often a quiet question sitting in their chest. If I can't fully rely on my kids, then what do I do? That question can feel scary at first, but it's also where real empowerment begins. One of the final painful truths people learn is that waiting too long to take control can cost far more than they ever expected. When decisions are delayed, they're often made for you by hospitals, by systems, or by circumstances that don't know you or care about your preferences. The goal isn't to avoid help, it's to choose it on your own terms. Another truth that deserves honesty is this: independence doesn't mean doing everything alone. Many seniors equate planning with giving up, but it's actually the opposite. Planning is how you protect your freedom. When you put simple structures in place, like understanding your finances, organizing important documents, and knowing what kind of support you'd accept if needed, you're not surrendering control, you're claiming it. You're deciding ahead of time how you want to live, instead of leaving it to chance. There's also a powerful shift that happens when you stop seeing your children as your safety net and start seeing yourself as your own foundation. This doesn't erase family, it changes the dynamic. Your kids can show up as companions, supporters, and advocates, not overwhelmed caregivers. Conversations become lighter, visits become more enjoyable. Help, when it's offered, feels like a gift instead of a duty. Many seniors say this shift actually brought them closer to their children because the unspoken pressure was finally gone. It's important to acknowledge the emotional side of all this. Letting go of old assumptions can feel like grief. You may grieve the idea of being cared for the way you once cared for others. You may grieve the image of family that felt comforting for decades. That grief is valid, but alongside it can grow something else: confidence. Confidence that you are capable of adapting. Confidence that your life still belongs to you. Confidence that aging does not mean shrinking or surrendering. One of the most reassuring truths is that it's never too late to make changes that matter. Even small steps can create a huge sense of relief. Having honest conversations, exploring community resources, building routines that support your health and mobility, and staying socially connected all add layers of security. These choices don't require perfection or massive effort. They require intention, and intention is something you can choose at any age. As you reflect on these painful truths, remember that they are not warnings meant to scare you. They are insights meant to protect you. Many seniors wish someone had spoken to them this openly earlier, before circumstances forced their hand. You're here now, listening, thinking, and that already puts you in a position of strength. Awareness is the first step toward a future that feels steadier and more dignified. If any part of this resonates with you, you're not alone. So many people are quietly navigating the same realizations, often without a space to talk about them.
If you feel comfortable, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. And if this conversation has been helpful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us continue bringing honest, practical guidance to people who need it. Most of all, remember this: your worth does not depend on how much help you need or who provides it. You deserve safety, respect, and peace of mind. By facing these truths now, you're giving yourself the chance to build a life that supports you, not one that leaves you hoping others will. Here's to staying strong, thoughtful, and in control of your future at every stage of life.